This is Populations and Resources, lesson 2.2, activity 2. You should have just completed the warm-up for this lesson, and we're going to talk about that now. So based on what you read, we need to think about what organisms need in order to reproduce. And so you should have learned that organisms need to release energy from energy storage molecules to reproduce. So an energy storage molecule is a molecule that organisms can use to release the energy they need to survive. So this is an important vocabulary word that we're going to be using a lot. Energy storage molecule is a molecule that organisms can use to release the energy they need to survive. So that's actually going to be a key concept, is that organisms need to release energy from energy storage molecules in order to reproduce. So we know from the article set that we read in the previous lesson that reproduction is hard work and requires a lot of energy. Organisms get this energy by releasing it from energy storage molecules. So this is evidence that organisms are releasing energy from energy storage molecules when they reproduce. We want to look at the sim here. You guys did this last lesson. And so I've got highlighted the reproducing, and I'm going to play it. And remember, these orange little bars, cylinders, are energy storage molecules. And so you can see that as organisms are reproducing, their energy storage molecules are decreasing. This is evidence that organisms are releasing energy from energy storage molecules when they reproduce. So all the ones that were reproducing, they were decreasing in their energy storage molecules, and that came from the fact that they were reproducing. So when energy is released from energy storage molecules, these molecules are used up, so the level in the tank goes down. Okay, we are going to move on to the next page now. I just need to get there. So after an energy storage molecule, an energy storage molecule is any molecule that organisms can use to release energy. There are a lot of different types of energy storage molecules. You might be familiar with glucose, which is a specific type of sugar. Glucose is used to release energy during cellular respiration. Energy storage molecules also include fats, carbohydrates like sugars, and starch. So these are all energy storage molecules. Starch, glucose, fats. You should have learned about these in metabolism last year when you did the metabolism unit. We know starches break down into glucose. So these are energy storage molecules. They can release energy. And fats also are energy storage molecules. So all of the different types of energy storage molecules are broken down by the body and are used to release energy. Energy storage molecules such as starches and fats are too large to pass through a cell wall. When the body needs these larger molecules, they are broken down first into glucose, which does pass through a cell wall. Once inside a cell, this energy storage molecule can be used along with oxygen by the cell to release energy. Again, you learned this in metabolism last year. Glucose and oxygen react to release energy, and this process or reaction is called cellular respiration. So these molecules are too large to go through the cells and be used in the cells, so they break down into the smaller form that can enter the cell wall, and then those are then used with oxygen. They react with oxygen to release energy, and then that energy can be used for things like reproduction. So the energy from energy storage molecules is used for other purposes and not just to make reproduction possible. Even when an organism is completely still or asleep, it needs energy and releases it from energy storage molecules. This is because all movement and change requires energy. This includes processes that are happening all the time, like a heart beating or an organism's breathing. Your body is moving and changing as you sleep, therefore energy is required. So we are going to not set up an experiment. Too bad, we were in class. We'd be setting up an experiment right now, and this one's a fun one because it causes people to freak out and just get all crazy. So anyways, I'm gonna talk about it, and then I'll do it and show you the video. So I'm gonna end up setting up an experiment using sugar, which is an energy storage molecule, to learn more about how energy storage molecules allow organisms to release energy in order to reproduce. So we're going to study the effect of sugar on yeast. We are using yeast because it is a living organism that reproduces quickly and it is easy to keep in the classroom. The yeast we are using is the same yeast that you use to make bread, or that you can use to make bread. So we will test the effect. We are going to test the effect of using a lot of sugar, a little sugar, and no sugar. So we'll have 3 cups, one with none, pinch, and a teaspoon of sugar. The goal is to find out if these differences in the amount of energy storage molecules provided have an effect on how much energy the yeast can release, which would affect how much the yeast can then reproduce. So I am going to do this experiment on a separate video, and then we'll come back to it. First, we're going to move on to activity 3, and then we'll come back to activity 4, and so you can see the experiment then.